Now, sometimes you wake up after having the greatest dream of your entire life, and then it dawns on you, that was not a dream, that was reality. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the vlog, and welcome to the squad. Well, today is gonna be a very, very good day because for the first time, we are driving the Koenigsegg Agera HH, and I don't know how this is possible. The weather in Utah today is perfect. Like, it's actually perfect. I'm already starting to get the sweaty and clammy hands. I have driven this Koenigsegg before, but I've never driven it as my Koenigsegg. Letter prime, listen in. Quick odometer reading 9,938 miles. Now to put the Agera into reverse, you actually downshift here on the paddle. Double downshift, triple downshift. Okay, I think I need to be in neutral, but I gotta put the camera down. We're now in neutral. Downshift here on the paddle, and that's gonna pop us into reverse. The backup camera on this car is so terrible. The issue with the backup camera on the Agera is very, very simple. It's right here. It's right beneath the exhaust. Now, I've said this before, but I guess in theory, what's behind you is irrelevant in a Koenigsegg. It only matters what's in front of you. We have so much good news in today's video. I'm very excited to announce for the very first time in over a year, we actually have a functioning gate. Now, the Koenigsegg is beautiful. I love the Koenigsegg, and the pink looks absolutely amazing, but I would reckon the gate, it might be just as beautiful. If you know the saga of the gate, you know why I feel that way. I'm such an idiot. I was too long. The gate is now closing. I gotta get out and manually open it. No. Okay, the sensors are not as functional as we like. I know a lot of people are not a big fan of the Momentum Pink, but you gotta admit, like, under the sun, when the sun directly hits the car, that is beautiful. We do not want this to happen again. Rinse and repeat. Okay, upshift, right down. And of course, it's very essential the Koenigsegg lift up. I don't know if it's because the front end lift is up or because the driveway is at an angle, but the fuel gauge is reading so incredibly low right now. As soon as we flatten out, lift down the fuel gauge, watch it climb up. Do you see that? Before we get too ahead of ourselves, I think it's on the passenger side. We gotta fill up the beast. And it's just a different feel. I have to admit, getting in and out of this car, it is never gonna get old. Just driving this thing at the speed limit is crazy. It is so violent in here. This thing is just popping. It is just so deafeningly loud in the cabin of this car. I mean, the V8 engine is bolted to your spine. Imagine you have a backpack on. In that backpack is a V8 twin turbo with excess of 1,000 horsepower. You're wearing the backpack. It's hard to describe, you guys, how nervous I am right now. My heart is racing. I feel almost sick to my stomach, which is weird because I have driven this exact car multiple times, but you only drive your Koenigsegg for the first time, one time. I'm trying to do some arithmetic right now. Exterior temperature is 10 degrees Celsius. In Fahrenheit, that's gotta be what? 32 plus 10, 42. Add a little bit, maybe 48 degrees Fahrenheit, which is cold. It's not that cold, but for 1,000 plus horsepower, it's definitely chilly. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! That is some spinning tires! Brother man! What? I am undeserving! I am not worthy! I am an imposter! I will promise you this though, I will love this car more than any other person's ever loved a car, and I will drive this car more than anyone's ever driven a Koenigsegg. This car's not about designer clothes, it's not about going to fancy dinners or the Met Gala or trying to act like you're a big deal. This car is about sheer performance, the love, the passion of driving the car. This is our generation McLaren F1. This is our generation 250 GTO. What I love about this car, you're trying to tame the beast, but the beast will never be tamed. This is not an easy car. I am like 25% foot to the throttle, no joke. That was 25%, and that's what I love about this car. Oh, that was a massive pothole. We saved it though, we missed it. It appears my right blinker is flickering just a little bit too fast right now. I don't know if a wiring harness is unplugged or if it's going out. I also have no idea where I'm gonna get this car serviced, but you'll sort that out later, and go. Unbelievable acceleration. The veins in my neck are all popping right now. My face is all red. I am sweating in every single pore in my body. I am screaming at the top of my lungs because it is so loud in this car. This car is almost like a final hurrah, the swan song for internal combustion engines. Now, we've driven some Koenigsegg's in some pretty spectacular places. The Burj Al Arab, the only 7-star hotel in the world in Dubai. We've driven a Koenigsegg Agera RS at 175 miles an hour at the Thermal Club in Palm Springs, California. I'm trying to navigate the Mobetta's drive-thru, but the most beautiful place we've ever been is the Mobetta's drive-thru in Harriman, Utah. This car is so loud, never gonna hear us in a drive-thru. The Koenigsegg is popular everywhere we go. Everybody loves the revs, yes sir. It's so addicting, I can't get enough of it. I will never understand for the life of me how this is my car. This thing is unlike any other car in the entire world. All the other stuff feels exactly the same. And yes, the radar is going off like crazy in this car, which is totally fine. It's ultra sensitive, and someday, one day, that is gonna save me a lot of headache and pain. That is for sure. Back in 2015, when I saw the Agera HH for the very first time, it was truly love at first sight. But I am so grateful, I'm so thankful that I wasn't just handed the car that day, because the blood, the sweat, the tears, all the years, all the videos, all the late nights, getting up early in the morning, traveling to this country, that country, the thousands of miles in airplanes, makes me appreciate this car so much. I still cannot believe 8 years later, she's ours. Now there's a bit of a caveat when I say she's ours, because when I say she's ours, she's more than just mine, she's more than just yours. You see, it's a bit of a symbiotic relationship. There's a deal between myself and a financial institution. Let me explain. Now, this financial institution and I, we love each other. However, if I miss one single payment to said financial institution, they take the car back. Now, the payment I have to make on this car might quite possibly be the largest car payment in the history of mankind. But first, Mobetta's. So good. I've been getting a lot of negative feedback on the color of the car, the wrap, the Momentum Pink, but what's ironic about it, the same people that hate the color of it, it's not that they hate the color, they hate the fact that it's a wrap and it's not original, because those same people love Porsche Ruby Star. And Ruby Star and Momentum Pink are basically one and the same. They are almost the exact same color. You can't please everybody. Now, I'm gonna be providing a lot of fuel to my haters, but the reason I'm gonna do this is because very early on my YouTube channel, I decided I was gonna share everything. The good, the bad, the ugly, the exciting, the depressing. I am leasing my Koenigsegg. You heard it here first. I have paid cars in cash. I have financed cars in a traditional loan. This is the first time ever I am leasing the Koenigsegg. There's a lot of reasons I'm doing that, but the number one reason I am leasing this car is for the tax advantages. I have to provide a bit of a disclaimer. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a CPA. I'm not your attorney. I'm not your CPA. This is not financial advice. This is not tax advice. Consult your own CPA, consult your own tax attorney. This is just how it applies to me. This is what I have done, and that is what it is. So that is my disclaimer. Now, my business is 100% social media. We got TikTok, we got Instagram, we got YouTube. Almost 99.9% of my income is generated via one of those free platforms. It's a very cool business. It's a ton of fun, but at the end of the day, it is a business and I pay tax on said business. Now, the majority of vehicles I use, not every single one of the vehicles I use, is considered 100% business use. I film in these cars, I generate revenue with these cars. They are business assets. I'm gonna guess in the last 8 years, I've owned about 30 to 35 cars, and the majority of these cars I paid outright in cash. Let's estimate 27 to 30 of the cars. I financed 3 of them, and I have leased 1 of them. Now, the tax implications between a lease and paying for a car outright in cash could not be any more different. I mean, it is mind-boggling. And moving along in the future, I'm gonna be leasing a lot more cars. And I realize this is a lot of fuel for my haters, but what my haters don't understand, it's the smartest business decision you can make. So you can say, oh, it's not your car, oh, you rent that car, you're just borrowing that car, the bank owns that car, the leasing company owns that car. That might be the case, but at the end of the day, the car is in my garage and I can drive the car whenever I want. There's no mileage restriction. I can drive it as long as I want. Unfortunately, I can't drive it as fast as I want, but yeah, it's not my car, but it is my car, but it's not my car. And as long as I make the lease payments, it's my car. I'm gonna try to explain this to the best of my abilities. I was an accountant in a past life, but I don't really want to be an accountant in a future life. So I'm gonna be speaking in generalities. Generalities, is that a word? I think that's the word. So the tax code here in the United States is constantly changing. Every year, the limitations change, the maximal deductions change, they adjust it for inflation, new laws get passed, and I'm gonna be speaking primarily on luxury vehicles. So a luxury vehicle is a vehicle that is worth approximately $70,000. I say approximately, generally speaking, because it kind of changes every single year. And then it also is a vehicle that weighs under 6,000 pounds gross vehicle weight rating. A vehicle that weighs over 6,000 is treated entirely different by the tax code. So my Hummer EV, entirely different. My TRX, entirely different than the Koenigsegg Koenigsegg, the Bugattis, the Lamborghinis, those are under 6,000 pounds. They're all over $70,000. So the Veyron, that was considered a luxury vehicle. It was over 70 grand and it weighed under 6,000 pounds. Now I bought that car in August of 2020. I paid $880,000 for that car. I put down $580 and I financed the remaining $300,000. Now that was a luxury vehicle as defined by the IRS, and I was limited to the luxury vehicle deduction, which was approximately $18,000 every single year. So every single year I could write off approximately $18,000. Now it's a diminishing write-off, so it's like 18 grand and then it's 16 grand and then 15 grand, year 1, year 2, year 3. So I put down $580,000 and I could only write off $18,000, but the Veyron was used 100% for business use, and that's because it was a luxury vehicle that was not leased. The key difference when you lease a car, you effectively, it's true, the haters are right, you don't truly actually own the car, you are almost renting the car, you are borrowing the car. It's really not an asset on your balance sheet that you can depreciate out over time. You are making a monthly payment every single month and you can expense that monthly payment. So effectively, when you lease a car, you can write off almost the entirety of the lease payment. And I say almost because the tax code is so complicated. There's so many different moving pieces. There's table A, there's table B, C, table 994B. There's so many tables, and depending on the value of the car, the leasing is treated ever so slightly. So like a luxury car worth this value is treated a lot different than like a BMW lease would be treated. But effectively, you can write off 100%. And like I said, it's because it's a business expense. It's not an asset. You're effectively renting the car. The haters are kind of sort of right, but the tax implications are so incredible, I don't really care. So yes, in summary, I am leasing my 2013 Koenigsegg Agera HH. For my business, for how I use my cars, it just makes sense, and it is the coolest business in the entire world. It is amazing that I'm able to own a Koenigsegg and have it be treated as a business expense. I could act like a big baller and tell you guys I paid cash for this car, I own it outright, but that's not really true. I'm leasing this car. A lot of guys lease hypercars. It is what it is, and it kind of makes sense. Now, my lease payment is ridiculous. It is laughable, but it is what it is. It is one of the most special cars in the entire world. This car is worth an absolute fortune, and I didn't want to let it pass by because she would have been the one that got away. So my lease payment is $35,646.40 every single month. Every single month, once a month, I have to write a check for $35,000 to own my Koenigsegg Agera HH, to rent, to lease my Koenigsegg Agera HH. But you know what? It's worth it. And one final thing I want to say about leasing the car, let's say for the next 4 years, I make the $35,000 payments, I purchase the car outright, and then in 10 years, I sell the car for $5 million. I'm going to have to pay a massive tax gain. But the nice thing about that is the taxes that I pay are going to match my cash flow. As I make a lease payment, I get the write-off. When I sell the car and I get the cash, then I pay the massive tax bill. So the leasing, like I said, it makes the most sense. Well, I'd love to get your guys' feedback on what you think on the Koenigsegg. Leasing it, paying outright, financing the car. It is an insane car. I'm so grateful to have it, and I cannot thank you guys enough. We have tons of updates coming on my dad's truck. I guess next year. I think I'm gonna see you guys next year. Happy 2024, but on that bombshell, today's video is over.